live. I'll just let's edit that. Right. Where's it gone? There. There it is. So right, just check, make sure the audio and everything's coming through. Let's have a look. Right. Check. Don't hear any audio coming through. It's very quiet though. It's quite quiet. I might have to speak a bit louder. Let's have a look. See. Right. Yeah. That's better. Right. So, I haven't got much charge on my phone. We've got a spare charger there, Mickey's charger. That's better. Right. Right. So I'm gonna show off a few things today. I'm gonna show off the Hyperspin front end. We will be doing some updates soon. Re-adding some new drives of Krisscoolmods. Not sure which direction we're going to take on some drives, because I think you get 24 terabyte drives now. The 24 terabyte drives, I can do 2 drives internally in the arcade control panels. So that's going to be 2 drives installed internally to the Ultimate Deluxe control panels. That will give us the 48 terabytes that we need for the Shar-Kade units. So that would then, one, save on power, save on space, and be more cost effective. But I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure the direction I'm going to take. Just unplug that end plug there. That's it. So I'm not sure what direction I'm going to take yet, but I know Krisscoolmods has been upgrading his drives to 20 odd terabyte drives. So there's going to be some options, some name changes and stuff like that, possibly on the way the drives load and what they look like. So instead of me saying the OPQR, me and Chris has discussed possibly naming it the switch drive, the PC drive, or the PC and switch drive, and so on and so on, and PS4 and stuff like that. Krisscoolmods is doing a ton of stuff in the background with adding new content and stuff, so which is cool, which I'll show off in a bit. I'm going to show off a few things and just go through what I do if you're new to the channel and stuff. So I'm always bloody dropping stuff. going to place that somewhere I can see the comments. And what I'm going to do, so I'm going to actually get those closed down and first, and then I'll get that opened up. So I'm going to load it like it loads up when the system starts up. That means I'll have full control of the system. Right, so I want to enable that. Is that the right layer? Yeah, so I'll enable that, and then I'll just go into this folder and just open that up and minimize those out the way and that out the way and close that. I think I'm gonna go and have a beer a second. Right then, this is Sharky from Shar-Kade. So, I've muted the videos because every time I do one of these long videos, the audio on some of the games and stuff and themes end up getting the video demonetized. So, we're gonna go with just the normal sounds as I move through the system. So, if you're not familiar with my channel, or what I do is I build custom arcade machines, and I send them all over the world. So we do one of the biggest systems that's out there, alongside Krisscoolmods. Now I initially do 48 terabytes. That gets you up to the Retro Beast starter pack, and then once you've got the Retro Beast starter pack, you can upgrade the Krisscoolmods add-on drives. Now you can start from as O, P, Q, R and S. Now there is some new stuff that we will be hopefully updating soon and changing around a few things, so we may go with larger drives with less having to have more drives for more power consumption and stuff like that. So it's less drives but bigger drives, so it means you can fit more systems and stuff like that, and multiple drives on one drive, if that makes sense. So that's possibly the route we may be taking. We've just got to look into it a bit more. Um, so I'm going to show off what you get on the 48 terabyte setup. Now there is some stuff I've had to re-update on this drive. There was one or two games that went corrupt on the 40 terabyte, so I've had to restore those. Indiana Jones, I'm going to get that again and get that restored on the system. There was also Dragon Ball Zero, is it? Sparking Zero. That is having to be restored on the drive as well, which I'll get done in the next few weeks. Obviously, there was a customer who's coming up soon, or his build's coming up, and he's dying for that game, so that's going to be added onto the system. So yeah, what I'm going to do, like I say, is I'm going to go through, explain what you get when you get a Shar-Kade unit, and I'll show off what machines I do as well. If you are new to the channel or new to my content, I'll show you exactly what I build, and I'll probably go through maybe my top 10 machines that I've built throughout the years. Now I'm going to have customers that say theirs is better, the best one, and so on and so on, but these will be my sort of picks over the years of building, and I've built hundreds upon hundreds of machines over the years. So yeah, there's a lot to choose from. Um, but yeah, I'll go through that, and I'll go through Krisscoolmods stuff as well, showcase his stuff and what he does, the products he makes and stuff like that, and products he sells and stuff like that, and other products that we put in our arcades as well. Um, so when you purchase a Shar-Kade unit, we have mainly two types of the arcade units themselves, is our lower end builds and our higher end builds. Now our lower end builds are a lower end GPU, is like a starting point PC sort of thing inside. That gives you like a GTX 1650, which we may even just upgrade now to the RTX 3050s, just because they're the bottom line cards at the moment, and the prices are roughly the same anyways as a 1650, which I think the 3050 is a better performing GPU. There might even be the 4050 I think now as well, which is probably even better performing and stuff like that. So our bottom base system, it comes with 8 gigs of RAM, 120 gig. I think now standard is 256 gig SSD or M.2 SSD, and then the lower end GPU. Oh, bloody alarm. So yeah, that's, hey Johnny mate, how's it going, man? Um, yeah, so basically that's our lower end setup. Now if you are looking at upgrading over time and going with the ultimate arcade setup, I do recommend you go with the 16 terabyte as your base system if you can afford it. So if you're on a budget and you can afford it, I do recommend you go with the 16 terabyte, and then it gives you the option to upgrade later on. Without having to upgrade hardware and stuff like that, you can stick with the base high-end hardware and upgrade from there, just the drives. Then we do higher and higher end setup. So we do RTX 4070 Ti graphics cards, 4K screens, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, you can basically upgrade your system to the ultimate arcade system, the ultimate PC inside, and then the ultimate arcade system. Now, when it comes to 4K and when it comes to the higher end graphics cards, it's great. Don't get us wrong, it's great. There's a lot of configuration I've got to do on my end to make sure it runs smoothly on everything. Um, but it's an expensive, highly expensive upgrade. Now, if you're on a budget, then I do recommend sticking with maybe going with the RTX 4060 graphics card, and then that card will support all the upcoming games as well, all the games that we've got on the system, all the way up to the 48 terabyte, and then Krisscoolmods add-on drives later on. And the problem we are probably going to have in the next couple of years now is SSDs. SSDs are basically they're going to be a nightmare for these sort of systems. Hey Andy mate, hey D Thomas dude. Yeah, so we're gonna run into a couple of problems over the next few years, I believe, unless SSDs prices come down and the size of the drives become bigger, because a lot of the next gen titles are going to start requiring SSDs by default. I think there's maybe 5 or 10 new games now that do require SSDs to perform really well. Spider-Man 2's one of them. The new Spider-Man 2, that's a highly demanding game, even though graphically it's not much better than the previous Spider-Man game, which runs flawlessly on a mechanical hard drive. There's a lot of shader builds as well, which actually started, I think, in the emulation scene, and then they started putting shader builds and stuff on new PC games. But yeah, that's a thing we run into. I think what's that zombie game? I think was exclusive to the PlayStation again. What was it? They made a TV series on Netflix of it. Honestly, my brain. Anyways, that's another game that does require an SSD. It does run on a mechanical hard drive, but not the best. Not the best. It does run and it's playable, but it does require an SSD to get anywhere really with some of the new games, like I say. So I think that's the sort of stuff we're going to run into over the next few years. But then hopefully in the next few years, SSDs are cheap as hell. We can get a 16 terabyte SSD, which would be perfect. Might cost a little bit more, but then everything's going to load a lot faster. Now, most of the stuff on the 24, 32 terabyte, 40, 48 terabyte PC games load and play really, really well on just a USB 3.0 hard drive, right? And Caddy. The USB 3.0 port works perfectly fine. It is a little slower than having it hardwired. Obviously, when I build smaller arcades, you've got no choice but to have only two 16 terabyte drives inside. Before I was only putting one in. I managed to create some custom mounts where I can mount two inside, and temperature tests and stuff like that doesn't cause any problems. So it seems to be perfectly fine with the two drives inside, but that's a maximum we can get internally on 16 terabytes. Like I say, we might have to upgrade maybe to 24 to have everything internal, just so it's a little bit faster, just so it reads a little bit faster. But like I say, the mechanical hard drive still, and SSDs is always better. So that's sort of the future where we're going to possibly go. Fingers crossed, prices and stuff drop on things and stuff, and it becomes reasonably priced. But like I say, we build the best and biggest arcade drive that's out there. Like I say, we do up to 16 terabyte external hard drive. Wait, 16 terabyte drives, which is ridiculous. You wouldn't get through the games ever. You wouldn't get through all the games, but some people like just a huge collection of stuff. And the good thing with the Ultimate Deluxe control panels and having it on an external hard drive bay, you can swap out the drives if you wish. Instead of having them all plugged into a 5 bay, 7 bay, stuff like that, you can just swap between the drives. Obviously, you recommend you shut down the machine load and stuff like that. So let's head up to the top and let's show exactly what I mean. So this is my front end system. So we have thousands and thousands and thousands of games and hundreds of systems. On here we have Krisscoolmods Retro Beast drive there. And then we have set up his OP and S drive and his starter pack. His starter pack is the 48 terabyte setup. Okay, so that gets you the Xbox 360 stuff. And then we have um, the O drive as well, and so on. So basically, anytime Krisscoolmods comes out with a new drive, we can add his drive to our system, load his drive from our system, and then you have that huge collection of games. And what I'll do, instead of going through the games on the menu and stuff, I'll show what he's got on his drives, and we'll go through his games list and stuff like that. So Krisscoolmods stuff can be added to my setup. Now his base system we won't add to our setup because I've got my base system. So most of the stuff he's got on his base system I've got already on mine. So the 48 terabytes, first 48 terabytes, after that it's OPQRS and so on. But me and Chris is going to have a discussion and work out if we can get more stuff added and stuff like that, and work out if we can add more other drives and collaborations and stuff like that. So you get more and more and more all the time. So that's Krisscoolmods Retro Beast setup. That loads from my menu, and then you can play all his games as well, his collection of games. It is recommended you have the PactoTech controller, which I'll talk through in a bit. I'll talk through all the PactoTech stuff like that, because the PactoTech turns the arcade controls into Xbox 360 controllers, which means then you can also plug in a wireless dongle. Disable the arcade controls, plug in a wireless dongle and use wireless Xbox One controllers, which works on most of the systems and most of the games, NextGen PC titles, stuff like that. So it's perfect for those. Our systems do come with wired controllers anyways. By default you get those. You get those even if you get the PactoTech. So that means if there is any older systems you can use, generally you got to switch on the back for direct input as well for older games, but they generally set the X input and configured with X input through all games and systems. My standard arcade controller is Zinmo controller. So the Zinmo controller is set up for most of the systems, stuff like that, with the Xbox controllers, Xbox style controllers you get off me, wired ones that work with what I call the digital and analog systems and stuff like that. So another option we have is our hyper search. So what I would do is, this might take a little while because I am running through USB all my drives. So all my drives are plugged in. So they're ticking away at the moment. It might take a second for those to wake up. And basically hyper search is I can go ahead and I can just type in whatever I want as long as I spell it correctly. Actually I'll clear that because I'll go to street. So I'll type in street. It still sounds like the hard drives are ticking away. Like I say, all my hard drives at the moment are currently plugged in USB in a 5-bay caddy, so it'll take a little time for each one of those drives to wake up and it scan those drives for the database and stuff. So I'll give it a few moments and that. Because generally if I search before it stops ticking away, it won't find anything. So it seems to have read the database. So on the left hand side we have all. So anything that's got the word street in it is all down the left hand side for every system. If I just go along, you can go along per system. So if I want Street Fighter, say for MAME, I'd head to the MAME option. The only systems I play Street Fighter on anyways is MAME, or it's the Mega Drive or Super Nintendo, which to be honest I do prefer the MAME version. So there we go, we've got 64 Street, we've got Coronation Street Quiz. Didn't even know there was a Coronation Street Quiz game, ridiculous. So let's load Hyper Street Fighter.
Loading complete.
Now with my systems, the basic shaders and stuff like that are set to the stock shaders and stuff are set to the system. If you want CRT filters, any of that stuff within RetroArch and stuff, that's something you would put in yourself. As you see, there is a CRT effect actually on this game. Right. Is it going to be my Xbox controller 2 minutes? I shall tell you. Right, input this machine. It should be up, down, left, right, and I haven't got no button config for that for some reason. Let's have a look. Yeah, so it's defaulted only settings, which I expected it to anyways because I haven't done no config on this. So I'll just quickly set that up. That's not a problem. Right, so that's recognizing as Joy 3, Joy 2, and it's got my Xbox controllers Joy 1. So I'll just delete them. Yeah, so because I don't have the two controllers in my main drive setup, it's recognized this is controller 1, which I'm not too bothered about. I'll just quickly configure it. Because I've got all my backup settings there. So we're going to go RB like that. I don't need that, to be honest, at the moment. Let's head up and just add our coin and start. Right. So by default, like I say, you would get your stock shaders and stuff. And then you just install whatever shaders you want. Now, there is some special features on the arcade consoles which I usually have configured, but for some reason it's not player 1, player 2. So I'll have to show that off in another video, which I've shown off before. We have a hyper pause. Basically, we can pause MAME, and then we have quick save, quick load, and then we have a cheat system as well. Get the ass handed to this. Cheating souls. Don't know why I jumped there. So let's exit out of that. So it is recognizing for some reason that player 1 and not player 2 because it's just exited out. So I'm not sure what's going on there. So that's our hyper search option. So let's head down, and we've got a ton of different systems. We've got our 19XX, we've got our Angry Birds collection, Atari, Jaguar, we have Capcom stuff. We have a comics book collection. Now Krisscoolmods has an even bigger comics book collection on his setup as well. We have Burger Time collection there. We have Future Pinball. We have over 700 Future Pinball stuff. I was at 500 or 700. We have Jukebox. Now our Jukebox software does require a license key. It's £30 for the license. You can actually use a Wii controller kit as well, or a gun with the setup to select your tracks and stuff like that. But the Wii controller works perfect for selecting your karaoke tracks and stuff. So we have a few thousand karaoke tracks on there. We have music videos and music tracks as well. Like I say, it's 30 quid for the license, and then you can add your own stuff if you want as well on top of that. And it's all a nice, neat touchscreen option as well you can have. So if you've got a spare touchscreen monitor and you want to plug your arcade into a touchscreen, you can then use it as a touchscreen jukebox as well. So we have a massive MAME collection, so we have over 35 games. So if I just jump in MAME there. Now, if I want to do a search, I just hold left or right on the arcade stick, and then I can just go ahead and select what game I'm looking for. So if I'm looking for Pac-Man, I will go to Q, and then I would head up, and I would find Pac-Man. If I wanted Street Fighter, I'd just go to T, and then head up and go to Super Street Fighter. If I wanted, let's try Space Invaders. So Space Invaders, I would still go to T up, and I would get there quicker than I would just go to S. Where were SU? So let's keep going. So many games. Splatterhouse is such a cool game. I don't think I played the arcade version though. Oh yeah, I have. One, yeah. What was I looking for? Space Invaders, was it? Space Wars. Set up. We have multiple versions of Space Invaders as well on there. So yeah, if we head back, we can go down. We have a 2-player collection and a 4-player collection. Now, with the 4-player games, we do build 4-player arcades. So you can plug in, you can have our 4-player arcades, or with our control panels and bar tops you do get Xbox controllers. So those are usually configured with the games, and that to play those games with the Xbox controllers as well. So you can have up to 4 players on those. Now we do have Switch as well, Nintendo Switch, which is also configured for the full 4 controls as well. And so on and so on. So yeah, you can have set up multiple controls and stuff like that. If you wanted a couple of 6-player games, you can set up extra controllers if you wish. I think X-Men has a 6-player version as well. So yeah, let's head down. We have a ton of stuff that, like, most people haven't heard of, systems people haven't heard of in that. So there's a lot of the older systems on here and a lot of the newer systems. Now we have a nice collection of Xbox, original Xbox as well, on our, is it on our 24 terabyte maybe, or 32 terabyte? So nice big collection of Xbox there. Midway collection, Need for Speed collection, Nintendo there, and Switch. This is where you start getting to the higher end setups. So we do a 8 terabyte base system. Like I say, it has 98,000 games on. You've got most of these systems on that just that single 8 terabyte setup. Then once you upgrade to the 16, once you have the 16 terabyte base system, you get a lot of these PC Games Plus. Now the PC Games Plus, the collection goes up in this one collection all the way up to the 32 terabyte drive. So depending on what drive you've got, depends on how many games you've got in this list. So if it's a 16 terabyte, you get the 16 terabyte list of games. If it's a 24, you get the 24 terabyte list of games, and 32 terabyte is where it jumps it right up as well. These are for all the higher end setups, so you've got all the latest titles on the PC Games Plus. And then the PC Games Plus Plus is for the 40 terabyte, which is not a huge collection of games. So we have stuff like Alan Wake 2, Aliens Fireteam, all the Assassin's Creed collection. Now I think there's 1 or 2 games we're missing on Assassin's Creed stuff, some of the newer stuff. We have Battletoads, Beyond Two Souls, Bioshock Infinite, Black Future 8. We have Borderlands collection, we have Broforce, we have Call of Duty collection as well. Now our Call of Duty Black Ops 3 is huge. You're looking at 200 odd gig just on our Black Ops 3. We have added a ton of modded maps and stuff like that to it, so you'll have a huge collection of cool modded maps with which you can unlock Easter eggs on and stuff like that as well. So yeah, it's a big collection, and it also has its own cheat system in the background where you press the arcade control buttons and then enable and disable certain cheats. So if you want unlimited health or unlimited ammo and stuff like that, you can do that on that game. We do have a cheat collection as well, which I'll show off in a second. So we have stuff like Cyberpunk and Crash Bandicoot 4, Crisis 3 Remastered, Crisis 2 Remastered. Let's head down. We have Dead Space 3 and Dead Space 1. Dead Space 2, I think we had a problem with Far Cry collection, so Far Cry 5, 6, 4. So we have Forza Horizon 4 and 5. We have Ghostwire Tokyo, which is another game. We have Ghost Runner. And now we have God of War 4. We do have God of War Ragnarok on the PC Plus as well. High on Life, another cool game. Hogwarts Legacy there. We have Horizon Zero Dawn there. We have Huntdown. Huntdown's I always rage about. Every stream I do, I rage about Huntdown. Such a good game. We have the Spider-Man Miles Morales and Spider-Man Remastered, and we have all the Marvel titles as well there. We have Mortal Kombat 11 on there. We have Tekken 8 as well. Tekken 8's on here. We have Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart quality game. Never got into the Ratchet Clank games, but I was playing that a bit and it's cool, man. It's cool. Red Dead Redemption 2, Redout 2. Resident Evil Collection. We have Resident Evil 4, 6, 7, 8. HD Remastered and so on. We have Robocop Road City as well. So, though it is an arcade, and it's an arcade drive and stuff, it also gives you the every next-gen title. So, hey Mark, mate. Yeah, so if you just want to sit down, chill out with a controller and play just some cool next-gen titles, you can do. Know what I mean? You can just sit there with your controller, play some games, so on. Depends if you've got a stand-up. If you've got a stand-up cabinet, it can become uncomfortable over time sat beside a big arcade machine and looking at a screen, rather than sitting chilling out on a sofa. But we do offer HDMI output as well on our bar tops and stand-up arcades, so that gives you the option to plug it into a large screen TV and just sit there with your controller, chill out and play your games. So there is that option as well. Not everyone in the man cave has room for a big screen TV on the wall, but the option's there. Same with the light guns as well. We do offer light guns. We do the gun for IR for the setup. You do order them direct from Raymond at Arpeg Electronics. Now we will be setting up the retro shooter stuff as well, alongside the Shar-Kade system. I'm still a fan of Gun for IR, the official Gun for IRs. I've had some cheap off makes. I've made my own as well. Raymond at Arpeg Electronics does do a brilliant job with the Gun for IR guns. It just work really well. There's no messing on. They just work. Their sensors as well are spot on. They're so accurate, so good. Their sensors. So to be honest, I haven't tried the retro shooters. I've heard great things about them. I've seen some poor things about them as well. So it's one of those, you know. The Gun for IR, I can't knock. It isn't cheap. They aren't cheap, but they're a great bit of kit. So let's head down. We have Secret Mana. We have Serious Sam 4, Shadow Warrior 2 and 3. I've completed 2. I've never got round to completing 3. Shaolin vs Wu-Tang, obscure game. Excuse me. And we have the South Park stuff. Sons of the Forest as well. It's a cool game. Starfield's on there. We have Street Fighter 5. We have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. Now I've just added the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on the 40 terabyte. We have Tekken 8 on there. Caston of Frank Stone is also on there. What else? The Quarry, I love the Quarry, and what's the other ones? Dark Pictures Anthologies.
Optic blast.
Until Dawn as well. Quality, I love that game. I love that game. They could have, when they remastered it, they could have changed a few things with it though. But it's still a good story. And they're meant to be bringing another one out as well. A second part Until Dawn, which should be good. Watch Dogs Legion, and the Yakuza collection as well. So massive collection there of just all next-gen titles. So up to the 32 terabyte, that's what you'll get. Those systems there. Now, if we head down, we get the PC++. So the PC++ is our 40 terabyte collection. So we've got some obscure games as well as some next-gen titles on here as well. So the idea was to just get a massive collection. Yeah, I've got the new Indiana Jones, mate. I've got to re-add it though, because it had a corrupt file on it. I did test it in a previous video and stuff, and it was working fine, but I was doing some more tests and it messed up, so I'm going to re-add it, mate. No, this isn't the new Hyperspin release. To be honest, mate, I don't want to mess my system up by updating my system with a new Hyperspin setup. I'm not bothered about the new Hyperspin, and it does this and it does that. I can run everything from this. And I'm not bothered about the new Hyperspin system. I don't want to have to add a new Hyperspin setup and it come with bugs and stuff like that. If it works, don't piss around with it. That's the way I say it. If it works flawlessly, don't mess with it. Simple as that. So I'm not planning on adding a new Hyperspin system. I'm not planning on adding Launchbox. I'm not planning on doing none of that stuff. If it works, don't mess with it. Launchbox looks good, but do I want to spend 3-4 weeks, 4 or 5 months re-adding everything and get annoyed to fuck because I'm spending most of my time pissing around with a front end and certain things aren't working like they do on my Hyperspin setup and stuff like that. I don't want to have to do that. I don't want to have to reconfigure everything. If it works, don't fix it. Simple as that. Don't try and fix it if it works flawless. That's the way I see it. In that way, we've always got a flawless front end working all the time. Once you start messing on with your front ends and changing it all the time, like one of the other companies out there, they keep messing on, they keep getting new people to do the drives, and there's a lot more complaints on their systems and stuff, and it happens. If you know what you're doing and you work on that system and focus on just that one system, it's always going to be flawless. And if it's not, it can be easily fixed. There's no having to scratch heads and be like, what's going on here? You can just jump straight on, work on that system, and that's it. Know what I mean? So that's the way I like to keep things made. Suicide Squad is out as well. I was thinking of adding it, but I've heard it's crap. I've heard the game's absolutely abysmal. I was interested in maybe just trying it, but I've heard it's absolutely dreadful game. But I may try it. I may try it and add it. If people really want it, I might add it, mate. But we'll see. So yeah, we've got some obscure games on here. That American Arcadia was pretty interesting, man. We've got the new Alone in the Dark as well. I've completed that. That was did I complete it? Actually, I might not. I think I got right near the end. I think I was in the pyramid type thing on that. I don't know if I remember completing it fully. No, I didn't, but I did get pretty far on that one. Amnesia the Bunker's meant to be really good game.
Optic blast.
Oh, where have I gone? Back. Oh, it's because I keep catching. It's a bit awkward trying to lean over. Right, anyways, Assassin's Creed Mirage is there. That's meant to be pretty good. Mirage. We have a bunch of Atari Recharge games as well. So we have Gravitar, Recharged, Missile Command, and so on. Atlas Fallen, and we have Invincible Eve there. Baldur's Gate 3, now that's the update as well, I think. I think the update that. Blade of Darkness, that was a cool old game. It's a pretty old game, that. I enjoyed that game. Probably a load of crap now, but it was well with it, yeah. We have Clown Art, which is a clown game. To be honest, I don't think I've ever played it, ever tested it. We have Dark Souls Remastered, Dark Souls Collection there. We have Daymare. Daymare was interesting, like a Resident Evil type game. And I think there's a second one to that. Something else. Something else. Death Stranding, Director's Cut. Let's keep heading along. Like I said, is Indiana Jones added to the system. I've just got to re-download it and set it up, which it's quite a big game. That was interesting. Grey Hill Incident. Horizon Chase 2. We have Horizon Forbidden West as well. Hey J-Rod dude. There's Indiana Jones in the Great Circle, but like I say, I've got to reinstall that. Hey dude. New Star Wars Survivor. I've got it downloaded, mate. I've got to be careful because there's not going to be a lot more room. And to be honest, I don't want to. The idea of getting Krisscoolmods in on everything was to get him to do the new drives. So any upgrade drive stuff like that. I don't want to have to get every game customers want on the drives I've currently got, and then no one even bother with Chris's drives because they've got the games all the one on just the one drive. You know what I mean? So I don't want to have to keep doing drives all the time. It takes forever, mate. Going through testing each game, adding the media, checking it, make sure everything works flawlessly, loads in, loads out, all that stuff. Leave that down to Krisscoolmods. It's as simple as that. So yeah, I may add it if there's enough space on the 40 terabyte because I've cleared some space up. VR titles are all on Krisscoolmods drives, mate. He has all the VR stuff and stuff like that on his drives. I'll go through his drives in a minute. I'll go through and show you what he has on his system. So you can upgrade to our 48 terabyte or starter pack, and then you can go to his obviously his OPQ RS drive, whatever drive, upgrade drive he's got in collection. So I'll show that off in a second, mate. So yeah, Indiana Jones Judgment. I was after playing that. Isn't that a Yakuza style? Or is it in the Yakuza universe? 2K Drive, Lego, Horizon Adventures. That's another game that's corrupted, so I'm gonna reinstall that. Which is a good game. And we have the All-Star Battles and Races and stuff. Let's keep going up. Palworld's a cool game. I enjoyed that. Stop playing it now though. Remnant 2, Ryzen 2 Raider there. Silent Hill 2 as well. It's on there, the remake. Sonic Superstars. Stray Souls. Callisto Protocol. Now that is a really well performing game, man. In 4K this game runs extremely well. Forza, mate. Forza's on there. I went through Forza just before. But the Callisto Protocol, I've completed it. It's such a good game. Really, really good game. And it looks clean, man. And it's not a demanding game at all. It's not demanding. Even on a 3060, it runs perfect. The 4070 Ti, in 4K, it's flawless, absolutely flawless, and it looks the part. All maxed out settings. It's one of the best graphical games, I would say, that's been out in a long time. Just the texture depths and stuff like that is ridiculous on it. And we have another new title, Devil Within. The Expanse Telltale series, I didn't get it. I might try it just because I like those type of games. Those video story games. Walking Dead Destinies, I played them. Shit. Thunder Ray was cool. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2. That's the newer one. They've done a couple of these. They had done the HD collection, which was just Tony Hawk's 1 and 2, but that's newer, which took years to come out. So yeah.
To the adventure!
And let's head back. So that's most of the up to the 40 terabyte. The 40 terabyte, like I say, is the Krisscoolmods starter pack. That's all Xbox 360 stuff. The 32 terabyte stuff, up to the 32 terabyte stuff, is the PS3 and the PC stuff and Switch stuff and so on. If we head down, we have this is, I believe, on our 24 terabyte, which is a PC cheat engine. So basically, we have a collection of PC cheats. Get some media in there as well. So when you load a game up, you can press the right pinball on the fly and go in and change, add cheats and remove cheats and stuff like that for all your games and stuff. I've got to sit down and re-update all the cheat software and then update all the games. I want to do a full collection of all the next-gen PC titles, have all the cheats for each and every game. It just takes time, man. Each game can take about 4 or 5 minutes to set up, and then test and stuff like that. Some games you've got to play the tutorial first before you can see if the cheats are working and stuff. It takes a long time. It takes a very long time to set up. So I've just got to find time when I've got spare time. I'm not building cabinets or I'm not stressing because something's gone wrong at work. I'll just need to sit down and go through it and test each one. And what I might do is on the Shar-Kade owners network, for Shar-Kade owners, is I might do a tutorial, video tutorial, live one, that people can follow. And any customers that have a rough idea of what they're doing potentially could help out, and that would help me massively, because it just means all I need is the shortcuts of the cheats and some files out of your software, and that should allow me to just copy and paste those in, and then I can just run them, test them quickly, make sure they're working, and then I can get the whole collection done. Like I say, it's gonna take time. So that's our cheat selection there. So that's all the next gen PC cheats, and they're cheats on the fly as well. And then we'll have PC mods. Now PC mods and PC cheats are different. PC mods is character mods, stuff like that. So if you want to play as Batman and Sifu, or Bruce Lee, or Goku, Luffy, Spider-Man, Kami, Chun-Li, and Ryu, and so on and so on. So there's actual in-game mods. And the way I've got these mods set up for most of these games, basically you load the game, loads in the mod, exit the game, it exits the mods, closes all the mods down, restores your files, all that stuff in the background. And it's pretty quick, does it pretty instant. And that way it means I've only got one version of that game on there, and then those mods will work in between that one version of that one game. So I'm not having to take up more space with multiple versions of multiple games. It's another system I want to work on eventually, which the 40 terabyte is practically full now with the new stuff. I'm going to give up. I'm going to give up adding more stuff soon, just because I want to leave it all to Krisscoolmods. All the cool new titles are going to be left to Krisscoolmods. If you want those, you upgrade to his drives. Simple as that. Okay. And then I'm going to focus on the mods. Because I'm going to need some space for those mods anyways. I'm going to need some extra space to install mods. Some mods are quite big. Stuff like Skyrim, stuff like that. There's some ridiculous mods for games like Skyrim. So yeah, it's a lot of work. It is a lot of work getting it set up so it talks to a certain folder and installs a certain mod and stuff like that. Then it uninstalls that mod and makes sure the files are restored back to the original and all that stuff. So it did take us a long time originally, which I managed to eventually get done. But it's a cool addition. You won't find that sort of thing on any other arcade builders front end. You just won't find that sort of stuff. Let's head back. And then we have a massive collection of GOG games, which I believe is on, is it the 16 terabyte? I think the 16 terabyte. Then we have our Pinball FX2, which is all on the 8 terabyte build. Our Sega collection, Sega Genesis, Model 2, Model 3 stuff. Our PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2. We have two lots of PlayStation 3 collections. One smaller one on the 8 terabyte build, and then we have the 24 terabyte build, I believe. Is it the 24 terabyte? Which is a massive collection of PS3 stuff. So depending on what drive you get, depends on what collection of games you get. Then we have a PS5 collection, which are PlayStation exclusive games that were released for the PC. So there's no emulation needed there. It's raw PC games. So they'll load, the graphics will be better, the gameplay will be better, that sort of thing. I didn't see God of War Ragnarok actually. Let's have a look quickly because it should be there. PC++. It should be there because I just set it up just before. Oh, there we go. God of War Ragnarok is there. So we've got that there. Let's head down. So that's on the 40 terabyte God of War Ragnarok. Hey, Alan, mate. Right, so like I say, most of this stuff is on the 8 terabyte. Most of the list of stuff is on the 8 terabyte. It's only like the NextGen stuff, the Switch collection, the Techno Parrot, the Xbox, and the RetroBee stuff that you get an extra throughout the drives. Which, though there's 98,000 games on the 8 terabyte, it works out about 112,000 games in total. So it's not a lot more, but it's because the games are a lot bigger. And so on. So Techno Parrot has been a bane on my life ever since I started working on it, but now it's starting to become flawless with it. I used to have a lot of problems in the past with Techno Parrot, the way it exited out and stuff like that, but I will be adding some more Techno Parrots soon. To work with the Wii controllers and the light guns, because I do have some newer games which is out of Patreon as well, so those will be getting added, but I'm not sure. I might take a look at the 16 terabyte drive again, see if I can clear any space up, and then add those games, because I don't want to split the drives up of the Techno Parrot stuff. I like what's on there with the Techno Parrot games all in one place. If I have to, I will just add it to another drive. I believe we do have on the 24 terabyte couple of Techno Parrot games that isn't on the 16 terabyte build. But like I say, I would like to keep it all in one place, and there is some games. There's the Aliens Armageddon, which I don't have on my arcade build, main build, but I do have on my gun shooters. So Alien Armageddon is another out of Patreon one, Terminator Salvation, stuff like that. So those games I want to get added to the main arcade build. if you've got space on there and you've got space on the 40 terabyte, if you get your machine from us, I'm happy to add them anyways. We'll jump on a call. It may take an hour just to go through, add the media, stuff like that, get the game added into the system and so on. So I don't mind that. As long as I've got spare time to do it, just give me a call. I'll jump on and I'll set stuff up. I have done for most of my customers. Just little things like that. If there's something you really want, I don't mind adding it. But obviously my time at the moment is short with a lot of stuff going on. So I'm trying to wait till the weekends before calls and stuff like that, where it used to be a nightly thing. Every night I used to be on the phone to customers and stuff like that, and yeah, it was becoming completely full time. 2-3 o'clock in the morning I'd be up till then. I'd be back at work and working, grinding constantly, and over time it started wearing us down a bit. So I've started taking a bit more family time and stuff as well. So yeah, I'll leave me calls now sort of till the weekend and so on. But like I say, I don't mind. If it's something you're really desperate for, I don't mind trying to add it for you when you've got your machine. As long as I've got the time to do it for you. Okay. So that's Techno Parrot anyways. We've got a nice collection there. There is some stuff I want to update though. And it just becomes a constant show updating stuff and add stuff and stuff like that. That's why I like to, from now on, if it isn't Techno Parrot and just PC stuff and other systems and stuff like that, I'll leave it to Krisscoolmods. That's why, like I say, I partnered up with Krisscoolmods so he can build drives, he can set up drives, he can sell drives for the Shar-Kade units. And that way it works well for both of us. I don't have to stress, he can make a bit of profit, and then us collabing together makes my drives bigger, gets me more sales, etc, etc. So it's all good for me. Know what I mean? Let's head down. We have Visual Pinball Collection as well, and then we've got other systems and other games. Now I'm gonna close this off. Obviously, if you've just joined the stream and you're wondering why there's no audio and that, my stream always gets demonetized and stuff when I play certain music, especially like the intro music for the Retro Beast and stuff like that. It gets demonetized, so I try not. I've muted all the music and that the videos. So let's quit out of that. I'm gonna let's go through Krisscoolmods' website. So, I'm not familiar with his website at the moment. I know he has changed stuff. So his Beast Gun Drive, he's doing a 2 terabyte now by the looks of it. So his Beast Gun Drive will work alongside our Shark Shooters. Our Shark Shooters is a 2-player arcade plug-and-play gun kit. It's got fixed alien light guns attached to the system, and then you can plug that into your 4K screen and so on. Now his Beast Drive, his light gun drive, works with every type of gun. So the M-Track, the Fusion, the Gun for IR, the Blamcom, the Retro Shooter, Zena gun, I'm not sure on that, Fusion E, and so on, right? So it works with across all systems. Now he does, if he has any problems, he does tell you to go to Discord, and that's how he works. It's how he conducts his business. If you've got a problem, you go to Discord, you ask on Discord. Be polite on his Discord, because if you're rude or anything like that, or if you're impatient or anything like that, he's not going to like it. You know what I mean? No one would. At the end of the day, he's very, very busy, constantly updating. If you've got a problem, tell him about it, inform him about it, and he'll get it fixed. And he does monthly updates. No one else that I know does that. Know what I mean? Is monthly updates you can download straight from his server, stuff like that. And as long as you've got things set up right and you follow his Discord right, you should be fine. Like I say, his Beast Light Gun Drive supports every other gun. So it means you can plug his gun drive into my Shark Shooter. Might need me to do some update configuration because he's constantly updating, so it might need me to just jump on and mess about with the settings for an hour or so just to get it working alongside the drive properly. But once you get your Shark Shooter, you can purchase his drive, set up your Blamcom or Retro Shooter guns and stuff like that, and use them on his drive, not on my drive, on his drive. So you can load his system up and use it on his drive. And yeah, and he's got a massive collection. So the Alien fixed guns don't support every game. They support most games and everything through Techno Parrot and Demol Shooter, but and Mayhem and so on. But it doesn't support every light gun because they're not official, like they're not really light guns that work off potentiometers and as an analog style control. So they'll only work in that method. The rail shooter guns. If you ever been in the arcades, played Aliens, the rail shooter guns. So you're basically dragging a cursor around the screen. Most new arcades are rail shooter games anyways. And I prefer them, to be honest. I really like them, man. I really, really like them. But a lot of people prefer Time Crisis style guns and stuff like that. So that gives you the option. Buy one of our machines, you can buy his drive, plug it in, and you can have the option of having both. Know what I mean? And the recoil on the Alien guns are ridiculous. 24 volt recoils, they're ridiculously good. So that's a run through basically of his light gun drive. Now let's go to, I don't know, like I say, he's got two versions. Right, let's have a look. So this is, I think, his main base stuff here. So this is run through of what he supports and stuff, and the games and stuff. Anyway, so it supports trackball, spinners, driving wheels, iPacks, and pack LED. This is his drive. So if you just want to plug and play arcade drive to install on your PC, you can buy his drives. You don't have to have a Shar-Kade unit. You can buy his drives and set them up and so on. Now, if you want a cool arcade build, come to me, and then you can collab our drives together, so you get best of both worlds. So he has jukebox Cody stuff and stuff like that. So I think he can also he offers online stuff as well, because he does like monthly updates and stuff. He can keep his units online. I tend to keep all my stuff offline if it's necessary. Other than the shark shooters can be kept online. There's just certain systems, certain stuff on my drive I like to stay offline altogether, unless it's me connected to the machine and so on. So you can add, I'm not sure on his how you go about adding, so let's go and try and add to cart. So if we add to cart, you would go from, I'd have to work it out, I think it's from the 48 PQRS, yeah, so I think it's from the 48 terabyte, but I'd have to see Chris, because he has changed it. It's not under OPQRS, but you're looking at around £500. So it's £100 cheaper than what I offer for his upgrade drives. So to be honest, it's worth waiting on his upgrade drives when you've got my full 48 terabyte, rather than me coming out with a new drive, because I charge £600. Know what I mean? You might have to pay a bit of shipping on that to work out about the same as well. But like I say, with Chris, he does a lot of work. He's constantly updating. So that's his main D drive. That's his main base drive. You don't get that with mine. That's what he's got on there is likely what I've got on my drive. So you've got your arcade board stuff and your different collections there. So let's head down, keep heading down, and then not there. We've got the Xbox 360. That's his starter pack. That's on our 48 terabyte setup. So his 360 stuff is actually the starter pack, the Retro B starter pack. Then, like I say, it's a 48 terabyte. So the 48 terabyte, the old drive, comes with all the stuff on here. Okay, so it's all his homebrew stuff, his import stuff, PS2, GOG games, and so on. Right? You're going to get some repeat stuff between my drive and his. There will be some repeat stuff. But he has music clips, jukebox, comic book, music retro wave, magazines, console imports, so different imports, PS2 Asia, Japan, Sega CD Japan, and so on. He has loads of import stuff and unusual stuff. Even I was well impressed with his it was his bezels. His bezels and stuff like that he uses is ridiculously good. There's an actual bezel when you're pressing buttons on the arcade controls and stuff. It presses buttons on the bezel. It looked cool. I'd never seen that before. It was pretty cool. So, let's head down his P drive. So his P drive is literally PC games, with some DLC included. So massive, massive collection of PC games. 1,500 PC games. That's extra PC games. Like I say, there might be a few repeats that I've got on my systems, but he might have the updated DLC on his collection as well. And then obviously he has some obscure games that I haven't got on my system as well, which I've noticed going through his drive and setup. And then his Q drive is the Switch 5000 Switch games, with Switchware stuff and Switch Japan. Now his drive R is Switch, Dreamcast Atomic Wave games and PC games and PC light gun games and VR games. So there's a mixture between Switch and PC and VR and so on his R drive. Then his S drive is PC games, Switch games again. Now I think this is all his new stuff. So it's G drive. So what we're up to there, 120, 112 gig, is it, something like that? Or terabyte gig, terabyte. Actually, let's calculate this. I'm terrible off the top of my head. So 48 terabyte is 3 drives and they're 316s. Let's 2 seconds. My brain's not with it there. So O P Q R S. So that's 16 times 5 equals plus 48. So that's 128 terabytes just there. Right, that's up to his S drive. Then we have the G drive. Now I've got to sit with Chris and have a look, see what he's doing with the PS4 stuff. And PS4 emulation, I think, yeah, so it's work in progress. Over time, more games will be supported, more games will work, and so on. So you basically, if you were to buy that drive, you would have to wait maybe every few months for a new game to work or another game to work and update the emulator as you go. So you always getting updates that way for that emulator and keep that emulator updated. And there'll be more and more support over the years. It does take a few years for some systems to come out. There might be a breakthrough and then 90% of stuff will just work. But it will be a work in progress. So you could wait a couple of years, get his drive, and then likely headset's just died. I'm actually strangling myself. 2 moments. Bloody headset. Always something. Hopefully you can still hear us. Right. Yeah, so with his PS4 stuff, it is a work in progress. So, you are gonna... 2 seconds, can I spin this? No, I can't. I've got it nearly strangling it. Let's move over a little bit more. So his PS4 drive, like I say, is a work in progress, but I think there's been quite a few stuff released and working really well. Now his H drive, it looks like there's 600 more Switch, PC games, PS4, um, and like I say, PS4 is a work in progress. So it might be worth holding off on those, or if you're just one of these people that want everything there ready, you can get his drives as well. Like I say, you can pick and choose any one of these drives. We'll set it up on our system, then it'll work on, it'll just load up from our system, and you can play those systems and those games and stuff from the Shar-Kade unit. Right? So that's the Krisscoolmods stuff. Like I say, he does a massive collection of stuff. So anything from the OPQRS and so on. So that would be an extra 32 terabytes. 32 terabytes. So we can do up to 160 terabytes, which is ridiculous. Honestly, absolutely ridiculous. 160 terabytes of just raw games. Um, so yeah, it's absolutely crazy what we can do. And like I say, Chris is thinking about working on some other stuff as well and getting some more stuff added and just making it bigger and bigger completely. So the PactoTech, what I do recommend is when you order a Shar-Kade unit, is potentially, if you've got the extra budget, go with the PactoTech. If you haven't, stick with what you've got and then so on. But if you are going to upgrade to the full Krisscoolmods stuff, I do recommend you have the PactoTech from the start. It saves a lot of ball ache, because if you want to upgrade later on and your machine's built, you've got to strip your wiring down, all that stuff. 2 moments. I think the wife's asleep. I might go and get a beer. Yeah, so basically, if you want to upgrade to Krisscoolmods drives, do recommend you have the PactoTech. It just makes life so much easier. It just recognizes on his system really well, and it's all configured. And for new games and stuff like that, it just works. Okay, so I do recommend you upgrade to the PactoTech if you've got it in your budget. The PactoTech, like I say, it supports Xbox 360 controllers, it supports wireless, it's got ultra low latency, and it's got a ton of other features as well. If we just go through, I think it's resources, and then we just have a look at the 2-player board there. I usually go with the T versions rather than the other ones. I find they're easier to install. Now, where's this list? Where's Lee's list of stuff? So that's disconnect mode, so you can turn it into keyboard and mouse mode. And there's your different button setups for your keyboard and mouse, which I'll have sorted. You've got D-pad mode and analog, fast analog mode as well, so you can change. If you have 360 sticks, you could add those, and have it work like a 360 proper 360 controller. Yeah, can have 8-button layout, 6-button layout, all by holding different button combinations. So you can enable turbo. So if you're playing stuff like Space Invaders or 1946, and instead of tap, wearing your buttons down, you can just set it to turbo mode, hold the button, and then it'll auto fire. So you can, like I say, set turbo mode and stuff. And there's other settings within these settings as well. Like I said, there's other different setups and settings and stuff. And the 4-player does other stuff as well, so you can set all 4 players with turbo and stuff. And you can have twin stick as well. So what it does is it turns, if you've got player 1, player 2, it turns it into 2 player 1 analog sticks. Now if you've got a 4-player control board, it turns it into 2 players. So let's say, for instance, if you've got the twin sticks set up for a game like Smash TV, you can set it that way. Though my setup doesn't really need that setting because I have mine configured that way. Or you can go in and configure that way with the 2 arcade sticks and the buttons. Know what I mean? So it's, you know, it's an option that you might not need, or an option that you might find you'll enjoy. It's, if you prefer using the arcade sticks and you want to play a next-gen title and it's got an analog, it's 2 analogs, you can use the second joystick as an analog if you wish. I wouldn't do it that way, but someone might. Okay, it gives you that option to do that. So yeah, different inputs and different features and stuff like that. So you, like I say, slow analog, fast analog mode, stuff like that. So yeah, they're really cool, really cool bit of kit, and they work really well. So that is the Retro Beast and the PactoTech board. So what I'm going to do, 2 seconds, I'm going to go through my different pictures, and I'm just going to show off what I do. If you're new to the channel, which you already watch me stuff, but I'm going to show you in a ways. I'm going to go through my favorite builds. So some of these builds are actually atrocious, terrible. Some of them I've done. I don't really want to name any though, you know what I mean, because it's some are customers' designs and stuff. But yeah, some of my earlier stuff wasn't amazing. But yeah, let's have a look. So let's enable that, and everyone can hear us okay. Yeah, let's have a check. Yeah. So let's have a look through the different bar tops. So I started off bar tops, and a lot of me bar tops, to be honest, I haven't built a lot of bar tops in a long while. I've got a couple of bar tops to do, but I haven't built a lot of bar tops in quite a long while. The control panels are very popular, and the sharpshooters are popular as well, and the stand-ups, the deluxe stand-ups, and the 4-player ones. But control panels I'd love to build every day. It's just easy. It makes my life easy as well, because I can build 3 or 4 a week if I've got zero crap to deal with. Let's have a look. What jumps out at us that I really liked building? I've got so many different Ghostbuster versions as well, and I've lost most of these designs. My folder deleted off my drive, and I did lose a lot of me arcade designs. So though there's 99 there of different versions and designs and stuff like that, I actually built a lot more than that, and I've built multiple versions of stuff as well. So yeah, I've built a lot of bar tops. That was quite popular. The video of that wasn't my thing. The customer will disagree. But the God of War cabinet, it's one of my top rated videos. But I wasn't a fan of the design. The Vice City bar top, that's crap thingy. Where's me? There we go. This is a beautiful looking machine. Don't know if you can see that there, but yeah, this was a stunning looking machine, and I've built stand-up versions of this. Yeah, it is a stunning bit of kit. Just the colours, the purples, and I do like a lot of my synthwave style cabinets. So yeah, that wasn't that long ago. Saying that I've done an Akira cabinet there, so it must have been. Because it didn't seem that long ago I added Hunt down. I suppose it's on 16 terabyte in it, so it would have been a few years ago. Let's head back. Harley Quinn one, I built that for my daughter one Christmas. The Joker bar top. This is early day stuff. This. Yeah, this was early day stuff. I'm not a fan of the control panel on that. Yeah, the artwork was stunning though, I think. Jurassic Park, that's the old one. I built that for my stepson years ago when he was tiny as well then. Near Automata, that was another. This was, I think I've had the same, to be honest, I've had the same camera. After I changed a couple of settings on the camera, the picture quality and everything was ridiculously good. And I've had that camera for years. I use the camera I've got now that I'm streaming. It costs us 800 quid, and it doesn't take nowhere near as though it does 4K, records 4K, everything. It doesn't do anywhere near as good a quality as the pictures I get from the camera I used for these pictures. And these are early days, so it's not even the best pictures. Know what I mean? And I think I spent a good few days on this design as well, getting it all blending in nice. I wouldn't mind doing another Near Automata one again, because it was a cool build. That nice build, and that's when me build started really hitting off. That's when it started really picking up. Rick and Morty one was cool as well. But it's a shame I don't have super high quality pictures like I do now. Stranger Things one, that stands out beautifully there. But yeah, that Rick and Morty one was cool. Have I done? I don't know. Have I done a control panel of Rick and Morty? I think I might have. Done one. Robocop, I built that for me mate for his birthday, and I've just finishing off a Robocop control panel as well, which I think's cool. I don't no longer have those grills as well. I can't find them anywhere, so I'd have to remake them. Resident Evil 2 one is nice build. I'll move on to other systems. Have I got nice pictures of this? So I think they're quite washed out with the orange lighting. Yeah, because that's how it sort of looked like in person. It's just the lighting in the room was terrible, and that's when I was working a lot of up to really late. I was working a lot of nights end, man, because I was working constantly all the time. Actually, that looks like daytime there. I thought I'd finished that on the night. Maybe I come in the next day, took pictures. Right, yeah. Street Fighter Retro Wave. Street Fighter Retro Wave was another collection of cabinets I sold loads of. I built so many of these Street Fighter Retro Wave ones. And stand-ups. They were a popular design. And someone actually done the design, but a really shitty, cheap knockoff of it, and says, "Oh, we're the first of a kind of doing this sort of design." And someone actually tagged this in it, and yeah, trying to claim that it was them that had the idea. But I know where they got the, because I actually got, it's a filter, not a filter, it's an action for Photoshop, and literally they just run the action, and they've done similar design, like, because that's just a PNG image of Ryu, and you run an action and it does all that for you, but you've got to move stuff around and resize it and stuff like that. But these didn't. They just like
sort of pasted the image on, and then that was it. Yeah, they've done a really bad job of it, and they were like, oh, we're the first to do something, and it was ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, that's the way it is, unfortunately. But as you see, any of my builds all come with the highest quality prints, and I can zoom right in to one of my images, and the pixelation is just it's just the quality is ridiculous. Because we super enhance everything, every image, every layer, all that stuff gets enhanced on top of an enhancement, and now we just do ridiculous enhancements to it. And that's why some stuff can take us quite a while to design, can take a few days, you know what I mean? The Lost Boys one was cool. I did like the gold and stuff. I reckon gold bolt tops would have looked nice or black on that one. But that was quality design. Took ages as well, because obviously a lot of images that I do find, I've got to try and get them to fit because of the shape of the cabinet, especially bar tops. It was always a nightmare trying to fit designs. Control panels are easier. This being tethered to this is doing me head in, because I'm sat in an awkward position and my legs go numb. But bar tops were always a pain in the backside. That's why I'm glad I'm not doing as many bar tops, because you'd find a good image, but then you couldn't fit most of that image in, so you'd have a lot cut off. So I'd have to try and get the rest of that image on the other side, but then you'd have artifacts in the image. Like all this area here was redrawn in by hand and stuff to look part of the image and stuff like that, then enhanced and stuff. Now if I do that design again, I would then enhance those images more. I'd upscale them more and stuff. So I wouldn't mind doing a Lost Boys one again. It was really nice in person, that design. And like I said, this is before I started taking a bit better quality photos of me stuff. Move the camera a little bit so I can sit forward and I'm not numbing me leg. Right. So yeah, the Lost Boys one was a stunning unit. See, if you look at the color depth on that picture there, I don't know if you can see that. When it gets closer, the reds were darker and stuff like that. So in person, it looked nice. Really, really, really nice, man. Nice looking unit. But yeah, and like I say, you know, I had to resize stuff and blend certain parts of the image in to make it match and stuff like that, because I always like to do a separate different side, but it's got to match, it's got to blend in. So that was a cool build to do, and this is when I was really starting off the Lost Boys cabinet and stuff. It's when I started really hitting off in my builds, and getting a lot of builds done. I probably missed a couple there. Resident Evil 2, let's have a look. Engines and airwaves. Batman Nightfall, that was a cool looking build if I remember correctly. Basic though. Day of the Tentacle, that was a nice build as well in person. So yeah, that had some high quality prints on it, but that was a cool build. Right, let's have a look. Now control panels. Now this doesn't show, like I say, I've lost a lot of my control panel designs, but I've got them on social media, so I'll have to just update them. But yeah, I've done a lot of control panel designs. And Big Trouble in Little China, that was a nice looking build. Always looks pinky on the images on that though. Bill and Ted was cool. Looked like sort of a sweet shop style thingy with 80s, that 80s, 90s, early 90s style to it, which it was nice, man. I always seem to do the same sort of. This is bugging the hell out of me. Hopefully it's charged enough. Oh, that's nice, man. I can stretch me leg eating that. Hopefully my mic doesn't go off.
Yeah, I seemed at certain points when I was doing certain style units, people would ask for similar stuff. So, like the Bill and Ted one, there was a Hanna-Barbera one, which was the same similar sort of style I was doing as well. So the both look quite similar, the styles and stuff. So yeah, it always seems to be sort of the case, like the Mario Kart and the NES cabinet, two NES Nintendo cabinets I was doing. In sort of the RoboCop, the pinks, purples, stuff like that, sort of blend in with the Mario Kart as well. So yeah, I seem to get a lot of requests of the same sort of stuff I'm doing at the time. So it has worked out pretty well that way. Have I got the Hanna-Barbera one? Yeah, there it is. I'm missing a lot of the images. So I've got to get these off social media because I am missing quite a lot. But that was another sort of that. I would say if you seen it in a sweet shop, it'd blend in. Know what I mean? It would blend in nicely. Um, but yeah, that sort of it was the same sort of style, same sort of background style and stuff like that. Know what I mean? Um, so yeah, I was doing a lot like that. Far Cry Blood Dragon. Um, this is a nice machine, man. Beautiful machine. Um, in person, it looked ridiculously good, ridiculously good. I enjoy building that, and I'm massive synthwave fan, massive synthwave fan. It was a real pleasure to build, and that was something I wanted to build for quite a while as well. Because some designs never even hit the shop floor, and I've got some. There's a Halloween one I'd love to build. I might show that off actually. The Halloween one. The Halloween one, I think on a cabinet would look ridiculously good. Ridiculously good. Um, Lakers one was a pretty cool one. The Green Lantern, that looks smart. Um, Mario Kart, you've just seen that, haven't you? The South Park one stood out. There we go again. Half of me images gone. So the South Park cabinet, that was another good one. The police one, that was an interesting one as well. See, those pictures are gone as well. Um, so I've got to try and find those. Simpsons, I've done two. I've done a coloured one and I've done a white one. See, all the coloured ones are gone. So I've only got those pictures there at the moment. That was a cool one. Um, Goonies. I've done better Goonies bar top though. The bar top's stunning. All the bar tops are stunning in the Goonies. Martial Law was a cool one. Yellow and black. It was nice. Really smart. The Tekken one. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Which one's that? I've got a few of these as well, but see, pictures are gone. That's Zombie Yeti stuff. And then if you look at Zombie Yeti's pictures, and then you look at this, they're a collab of Zombie Yeti's stuff, not just one image. It looks like one image to blend in nicely, and he always does the best artwork. I get the best artwork from Zombie Yeti stuff, and I always super enhance it. I can enhance it so good. Um, Another Zombie Yeti, they always really stand out. His designs and stuff always really stand out. Where is it? The Iron Maiden one. Iron Maiden. This is another just phenomenal looking unit, and all this like look at the depth and detail in that. It's just a stunning bit of kit. And though the images were poor, the background images were poor, I like to do a blend between the images as well. On certain, if I can only get like good quality, then mediocre quality. I like to always use like the really good quality in the foreground and the slightly poor quality in the background if I've got to resize and change and thing in the image, and it gives it that A bit like when you got a YouTube video or stuff like that, and you blur the background and you enhance the front image and stuff. It sort of gives it that look, and it stands out so well, and especially Zombie Yeti's designs. All this sand, yeah, and stuff. That's cut out and remastered and repasted and recloned, and it took hours just doing that piece there for the front. And this, I think, is Sonic. The actual sand there is out of Sonic's level, I think. Is it Sonic's or Mario? I think it's Sonic's, something like that. Yeah, I think it's Sonic's. So it's out of one of them, Sonic or Mario, but that's sand. Wait, it's ground, but it's made to look like sand and stuff like that. So blended in perfectly, man. All this was cut out and blended in, and cut out and blended in, and different backgrounds, and all this rock was redrawn, and all this was redrawn. So there is a lot of stuff I go through, redrawn stuff. It's not just copy and pasting an image on. And this, I think this was taken off a picture of the side of a pinball cabinet, which was like on an angle, so I had to like reshape it and stuff like that, and yeah, and just to make it all blend in nicely. So I used to spend quite a lot of time back in early day designing stuff as well. It used to take us a lot longer than it does now. I suppose over the years the skills get a bit better and better, but yeah, it used to take us a bit longer doing certain designs and that. But yeah, that's another one that in person it just stood out. All this part of the image just really popped, really stood out, and then the background was slightly less quality, but not. It was still nice to see. It still was attractive to the eye, but it wasn't as clear as this. So this stood out more. The background sort of blended in, and it just worked together really well. So yeah, Iron Maiden one was a quality machine. Let's have a look. Let's go back to control panels. Deluxe control panel. So we've done the Bill and Ted. We've had a look. Transformers. Transformers was just basic design. It had that Sega style front design there with a classic Transformers cartoon looking logo with the background, and it just blended perfectly well. It just looks stunning, absolutely stunning. And that was early day stuff as well. That was early design stuff. Wu-Tang, that was quite a recent. Was it quite recent? Yeah, it was quite recent because that's in Hidokins there. Yeah, so that Wu-Tang one was cool as well. And I always like my yellow and black. Always like the yellow and black stuff. It looks smart. So yeah, that was another cool one. A lot of editing as well in the background. It doesn't look much, but there was. I think 2-3 images I worked with though for that one whole design. X-Men, I've done multiple versions of that as well, and the different backgrounds and stuff, and yeah, and that's when I was testing different blends and stuff. Like this background here is different to that background and stuff like that, and yeah, that logo is not part of that image, and those characters are pasted in and stuff like that. So yeah, I've done a lot of work on that. That took us quite a while. Right, let's have a look at the standard stand-ups. Another product I do. Fallout cabinet, can't really go wrong with a Fallout design. That's my first one I've done, I believe, and I've obviously done one for Hidokins Free Play Arcade, because that one had the spinner in the centre there with the Nuka-Cola dust covers. And that's when I was putting the spinners in the centre. I now put them on the front. It's better orientation, I believe. But it looks smart on there, man. Really, really smart. And it's a really smart design. And the Fallout 76 custom grills there as well. He-Man. Now I've done a few of these, and there's one I wasn't too much of a fan of. I think it's this one. Am I coming back through there? Yeah, there we go. Right, bloody thing. Right. Um, this one, another He-Man cabinet, and the sides were stunning. Wasn't too much of a fan on the centre rod um, of that one. The centre rod I wasn't a huge fan of, but the side rod is cool, man. There should be another He-Man cabinet, but I can't see it there. Something else I'm missing as well. Ah, Master of the Universe redesign 2. No, Master of the Universe. That one. That's the one I've got in as well, Hadokens at the moment as well. That design. And it is nice. It's stunning. All the sides. It's got the classic look going throughout the whole unit. And even in the background here, you've got the different elements of the show and stuff like that, like a comic strip style, and the lightning's all drawn in, hand drawn in and stuff. That stuff I've added myself and so on, and yeah, just so much little bits of detail that just blended in nicely with that style of cabinet. And that is, I'll go to the Superman cabinet because this one I didn't design. A customer designed this, and he done a phenomenal job. Absolutely phenomenal job. Look at that. That that is stunning. Um, and it looks like my style cabinets. It looks like one of my cabinets. Know what I mean? So yeah, the blend between the red and the blue. He done a great job. Absolute great job. And all this was actually just wasn't part of Superman. It was all different galaxy and stuff, like a sun and moon type thing, and it just blends in so well with that whole design. Um, yeah, so it just blends in really nice. Really cool design. Yeah, so that's Superman. What else? Um, Zelda. I'm surprised I haven't done more of these. I wasn't the biggest fan of it, but I can see why quite a few people have liked the design. Um, it is just a classic, cool Zelda-looking machine, um, and it looks apart. You know what I mean? And now those grills are cool, man. Those grills are well cool. But yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the design, but I can see why people like it because it's Zelda. Zelda's cool. You know what I mean? Goonies. Now this one, I've done a couple of Goonies cabinets, but this one, the wood effect in that, the dark and the gold and stuff is nice, is cool. It's another one of my favourite builds. And I've done quite a few of those Goonies style cabinets as well. Um, Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat stand up. Now I've done a couple of these. I've done obviously the 4-player Mortal Kombat, which I do prefer more than this one, the 4-player Mortal Kombat. But yeah, that control panel's stunning. I think it's Goro's background. with the gold dust covers, gold bowl tops, the yellow buttons, the finish 'em on the front, and it's got that Big Trouble in Little China, another good stand-up cabinet, Big Trouble in Little China style. And I went through a stage of doing the same sort of Chinese style, and I've used this sort of style, these dragons, on quite a few designs, and it blends in. It blends in nicely on those styles. I've done a actually, if I still got, I hope I've got them images. I'm gonna be peeved right off if I don't. Van Damme, Bloodsport. There we go. Ah, I'm missing most of them though. I'll have to look for the backup of those. That was another one. It's got the dragons on the front there, but in red, and oh, it is one of my favourite builds. I think it's probably the wife's favourite build as well. She's a huge Van Damme fan. Creepshow was another quality design. The deluxe stand up as well, 4-player control panel. Creepshow, the artwork is just, the artwork on that is so clean and clear. So much like work went into the custom grills as well. The grills, background of the characters and stuff were separate images. The enhancement of all this image and cutting out the little bits and pieces and like just all the sides as well to match and blend and stuff, because they're, I think, multiple of the same sort of images, so the same style art, the same artist, stuff like that. Let's get the stand up, because the stand up I think is more impressive. Deluxe stand up, Creepshow. I think I'm missing quite a few of the images as well of this. Let's have a look at the side. Yeah, so I mean that's part of one image, then that's part of the other image, I believe, and that's part of the first image, I think, and that's part of the second image, and that's part of the first image again, and I blended them all different layers, and it took hours upon hours upon hours, and it turned out stunning, and it blended in nicely, because the way the images are designed, you couldn't get those characters in and you couldn't get those characters in, and so on and so on. So there was just so much work, and that actually was that went to, did I do two of these deluxe stand-ups or did I do one? I can't remember. I think that went to Philip from Like Gun Lunatics. Um, yeah, so like I say, the quality was ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous, nice quality, man. Yeah, and so much work went into the control panel art, and I think that took over a week easy to design. So yeah, a lot of work went into the different side arts. There's the other side as well, and then the front there. It's just an absolute cool machine, man. All the different background elements, and that's a separate image, and that's a separate images, and that's a faded background image of the sides, and that's the bats and everything are all added in, and those are the bats as well. There's bats over here, and yeah, just hours upon hours of work. Not I've actually got the poster of these up in the cinema room. But the Lord of the Rings cabinet is just a masterpiece looking bit of art. It was a cool ass design, um, and it just every bit of colour, every bit of everything on it just blended really nice. All the oranges and golds and stuff, the gold control panel, the lava effect in that on the center art and stuff, the marquee, and it was, I think, from 3 different main images of Lord of the Rings, and I cut and pasted certain parts in and stuff like that, and from a couple of different images, and it took hours, but the enhancements of the artwork turned out perfect. Yeah, so like the different sides and the different blends and the bottom, that's, I believe that was just one image, and then I used a couple of those style images. If you see there, different artwork, the Sauron's eye in the center there, is it Sauron? I can't remember. Dust covers, the custom grills as well. Custom grills looked really nice when it was all lit up. In that image, completely different side, and just so much detail and stuff throughout the whole build. So yeah, very early day stuff as well, and it was, I was impressed myself by that. It was cool. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I've done a few of those. Missing some images though. This, a lot of blending and stuff like that of the design. All this was drawn in. The background, all the rat round by the rats were drawn in, hand drawn in. Yeah, all these were drawn in. All that there was drawn in, hand drawn in. Because I think these were sort of off box arts, for character box arts, and a lot of the elements I took from other stuff. Like all this was drawn in and stuff. That looks part of that, but it's actually drawn in, that text. I drew all that in, so it looks like spray paint and stuff. Yeah, just hours upon hours upon hours of design work. Yeah, all that stuff was drawn in. All the bottom here was redrawn and stuff as well. Because these were off, like I say, the character box arts. So they had like the little plastic bit on the box and where it had been torn on the images, and I enhanced all, redrew everything in all this section here is all redrawn in, so it just looks like dripping water in the sewer, but all that's hand drawn in and stuff. So like I say, a lot of work, and everything's enhanced to ridiculous quality, and you're thinking the image was potentially a couple of inches big, and I've had to make it look super high quality. So that's when I started to really enhance the imagery and stuff on my builds. So yeah, that was another good one. Lollipop Chainsaw. Now, I've never been a fan of the game, but it's a cool design, girly design, but cool, really cool. Um, Colourful as hell. The colours popped ridiculously, and this was in a dark room. I was taking like a really poor lit room in my other shop, and I gotta say the colours just stand out ridiculously. Um, yeah, so cool design. Another one that took quite a while to design, even though it looks pretty standard. There was a lot of work went into the different layers and stuff of that. So that another quality build. Really enjoyed that. Maximum Carnage. Um, it was a good build. Cool design. But I've done a few quite similar to that as well around the time, like the Marvel vs. Capcom and stuff like that. It was the same sort of style I was doing at the time. Jaws was an early build, and that come out really well. I wouldn't mind doing another one of that, but enhanced, because this was, I think, my first deluxe. I think it was my first deluxe style cabinet. Yeah, because even the button layout's completely different. Like, it's one of my first deluxe builds. And I had, why I put the USB under there rather than on there, but yeah, got USB under there for some reason. Yeah. But yeah, those grills were clean looking, man. Really nice grills on those. Marvel vs. Capcom. Like I say, it was the Carnage one was around the Marvel vs. Capcom and quite similar design. Rock Legends Deluxe. I'd done a black one of that. I was hoping the customer picked the black one, but that was more fitting to their room. But the black one was nice. It was really nice. That design. Right, let's jump on Street Fighter 1 stand-up stuff like that has always been popular. The Street Fighter Retro Wave ones. Let's have a look at the shooters. The shooters aliens. This is new design, fairly new design. I've backed up these images again, so I've got to rotate them. But that's one of my new designs. That's stunning, absolutely stunning. Really, really nice build. Deadstone Pirates, not a really nice build. Deadstone Pirates was cool, and such a hard design to do because there's not a lot of images. Deadstone Pirates, if you look, it's got like that Goonies-esque look to it. But it was nice. Come out really looked really smart. And like I said, Deadstone Pirates is an easy game to go off. The Galaxy Guardians of the Galaxy look smart as well. That looked really smart. Godzilla is a stunning gun kit as well. It really, really stands out. I'd like to build another one of those, and I've got an alternate version of that as well. I've got a couple of alternates, I think, of the Godzilla one. House of the Dead Scarlet Dawn. It was one of my earlier builds. I'm not a huge fan of it. Jurassic Park is quality. It still looks good. Even now, it's not a good build. I enjoy building. Sega Golden Gun was cool. That was an interesting. That was just before the wedding, I think. I built it for the wedding. Which I think Krisscoolmods had. Yeah, Krisscoolmods has this. But yeah, Sega Golden Gun was a good build. Really, really good build. I don't think I'll be able to do that anymore though. Not those grills anyways, because I'm not printing white anymore. That was a really, really interesting build, man. And these side plates and stuff, it was just something I was doing different. And yeah, the gold acrylic and everything, it just stands right out. Spider-Man was an interesting one. Yeah, Spider-Man was a pretty cool one. Looked smart on there. Let's have a look at Punisher. Punisher was okay. Walking Dead was cool. Transformers. Transformers one I wish I had done a bit better center art. But it stood out. It's a nice looking gun kit. And what's next? I've done the standard stand-ups. The 3-in-1, there's only one 3-in-1, the Masters of the Universe quality machine. 4-player stand-up. What we got? I haven't got many images left of those either. Because I've done a lot more than this. But obviously I'm missing loads of stuff. Mortal Kombat, that stand-up is ridiculously good. Smash Brothers was cool. I've got another one of these designs to do as well, very, very, very soon. That was an interesting design. That was for a company. But someone wants a similar design to that. And then the 4-player Turtles, which had Splint on the side as well, same as the other Turtles cabinet. Looked like it, but yet again missing most of my images, which I'll have to get off social media. Yeah, I think that's about it for the builds. Anyways, I thought I'd go through that because it's interesting to take a look what I've done in the past and stuff, and what I've built in the past. But I think that's going to be it I've shown off the systems, the games and stuff. I will be doing a few little updates, adding a couple of more games, but that's gonna be it, like I say, for me. If you wish to purchase a unit, hit us up, dean@sharkade.co.uk. We are going to be doing special offers. If you've held on to for this long, we are going to be doing some special offers. Just hit us up, let us know the product that you want, and then I'll do a special offer. If it's a control panel bar top or stand up, I might do the 40 and 48 terabyte add-on free if you purchase a 32 terabyte build. If you're doing the shark shooters, I might knock 500 quid off. I might do them for straight 2 grand. I think that's about it, but hit us up anyways, let us know what you want. I'll work it if I can take a bit of money off and do you something cool as a special offer, okay? But yeah, we'll go from there. Like I said, just hit us up an email, let us know what you want, and we'll work something out. I'll do quite a bit off on something. Know what I mean? Make it worthwhile for everyone. I'm gonna leave it there because likely my camera should be about dying soon anyways, and I've been streaming for quite a while. So make sure you like, share, subscribe to the videos, hit that notification bell, and I'll catch us all in the next one. Bye.